Cindy Davis Evans of The Cindy Davis Show. My guest today is helping top-performing CEOs, speakers, and public figures place style at the top of their deck with her award-winning plus-size styling agency, Atarah Styles. Welcome to the show, Atarah.
Hi, Cindy.
Hello, how are you?
Wonderful, and you?
Yeah, wonderful. You look beautiful.
Thank you. So do you. I love the colors.
Thank you so much for joining me.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Well, it's good to have you on. And Atarah, am I pronouncing that right?
Atarah.
Atarah. That's a beautiful name.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love that name. So how did you get started in the fashion industry?
So I feel like fashion has kind of always been like a small part of my life until recently when I stepped into the styling world. I actually started like my footing as an entrepreneur in the beauty side of the image industry. I am coming from being a makeup artist of over 13 years.
Wow.
And back in 2020, during the pandemic, anything like that, beauty services, everybody was shut down. So it's like we all had to like reevaluate and really think about what we wanted to do, because like if you can't serve clients in person, how do you make money as a beautypreneur? So also during that time, I had lost my mom unexpectedly in the height of the pandemic. Yes.
Oh, no, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes. And during that time, I was already feeling like, I've given this career 10 plus years of my life. And this is something I really want to be doing long term. And then through the coercion of some friends and encouragement, they're like, well, we like your sense of fashion and we are about to partner with a major plus size brand. We would like you to style us and be a part of these segments once a month. So I was like, I have no styling experience, but they trusted me with this and it kind of took off from there. And I decided that I wanted to pivot from makeup to styling. And here we are 2.5 years later, award-winning agency. It's been a ride.
That is some ride, I'll say. So what awards did have you won?
In 2022, our agency won the Outstanding Stylist of the Year award by the Full Figure Industry Awards, which is an awards community that is dedicated strictly to the plus size industry. So that's a high honor because that's all I serve as a plus size stylist. So to be recognized for my talents in that community was like major for me.
That is a major accomplishment. Were you featured on any reality show?
Yes. So it hasn't aired yet, but I am a part of season 7 of The Blocks, which is an entrepreneurial based reality show, as well as a business incubator where entrepreneurs from all over the country come in and we compete. It's also a pitch competition, and you'll see more about that very soon. It should be airing sometime this year.
Wow, that is amazing. God is really blessing you.
Oh my goodness. I really have to sit back and think, because sometimes I feel like on all of us, we all have like our pinnacle point, and sometimes we feel like we're not getting there. But when you just sit back and reflect, it's like, wow, I really have done a lot. And
that's true.
Humbling, and I'm grateful.
That is so true, because you look back and it's like, wow, I did all that. But at the time, it doesn't seem like, when you're on your journey, it doesn't seem like you're doing very much.
Absolutely.
But when you reflect, you can realize how much you are accomplishing. So tell us about, give us some tips, some styling tips that
one of my like signature things, especially a plus size woman, because a lot of us growing up, the messages we've been told is cover yourself, darker colors make you look smaller, all those things. So one of my signature ways that I serve and show up for my clients is encouraging them and moving them into color, which is not always a very easy step. Sometimes you feel intimidated. So I encourage people to really look at the psychology of color when it comes to how you're getting dressed. Like certain colors give a certain mood or vibe. Like you think about red. Red is like that I got your attention color. It's a very commanding color, whereas like a soft shade of pink or a soft shade of blue is could be considered like a calming color. So I really encourage people, when you're getting dressed, think about where you're going, the room that you're going to be in, and wear colors that communicate the message that you want to send. If you want to stop all eyes when you walk in a room, wear something bright and vibrant. If you are going to something that is more conservative, you might want to go for a neutral color palette. So I really believe in driving home the psychology of color.
Do you believe that clothes make the person or the person make the clothes?
I actually believe the person makes the clothes because surprisingly enough, there are celebrities out here who are wearing, for instance, Fashion Nova, and it doesn't matter how much it costs. It doesn't matter where it comes from. It's really about all how you style it. There are like those small tweaks and those things you can do to refine your wardrobe that will absolutely make your look go from looking like it is at a lower price point to making it look expensive. So for me, looking expensive has nothing to do with the price tag. And that's always the goal. You want to look well put together and presentable without having to show a tag or a logo.
Right. And speaking of that, how do you address people who are not wearing logos, who are on a budget and trying to look their best?
I definitely feel like if you know that, because I always say this, even if you are on a budget, I do believe in investment pieces, because if you know that you're not going to be able to shop regularly, I say set aside money for either investing in pieces that have longevity. So a lot of times what people do when they're on a budget is they go towards, okay, let me get the fast fashion. Let me go into options that are cheaper that I can buy more of. But what tends to happen is you end up in the long run spending more money. So my advice is always put money to the side and do a mass investment in pieces that are quality, pieces that are going to last, pieces that you can interchange, which I call like my workhorses or your wardrobe staples, and go from there. Or if it's not an issue of how often you shop, then investing in your staples, things that every woman needs in their closet, a good pair of black slacks, a crisp white shirt, a really good, well-tailored that fits you well blazer. Like those pieces never go out of style. And those pieces you can constantly reinvent looks with.
Wow, that's good advice.
Yes,
let's talk shapewear. How do you decide what type of shapewear to wear? Because because they say that you have to go like 2-3 sizes smaller in your shapewear. What do you say?
So you're after my own heart with this, because shapewear is another one of my things. With shapewear, that's actually a misconception. A lot of women do this. They go out and they buy shapewear and they figure, well, the smaller I get it, the more compression I'm going to get, and the smaller, more snatched I'm going to look. But what ends up happening is, one, you are running the risk of being uncomfortable all day. And what also happens is sometimes you have like that sausage effect. If you think about a sausage in a casing, the more you squeeze it, that's what happens when your shapewear is too small. So my advice is always to buy your size. Look at the sizing chart for the particular brand and go from there. It's never a good idea unless you just really, really like that super compressed look. It's really not a good idea. It's not good for your internal organs. It's not good for, it's going to lead, you can leave indentations in your skin, irritation. I really recommend going for the actual size that the merchandiser recommends.
Absolutely.
Based on your measurements.
Good talk. You say that you should dress like it's your last. So that when you go into the grocery store, anytime you're out in public. So what do you mean by that statement?
I truly believe in the method of how I get my clients to success is called the dress to manifest method. I really do believe that when you get dressed, there should be an intention behind what you're wearing, and you just never know who you're going to meet. You could go to the grocery store, but there could be somebody there that could be your next opportunity, your next connection, your next lover. You just never know where you're going to find the opportunity. So I try to teach my clients to dress like it's your last, because you never know when you're going to get the opportunity to make that impression again. I would hate for you to go somewhere, you run into somebody that could make or break your career, or somebody who could see you and perceive you differently because you're not showing up as the version of yourself that needs to be ready for that opportunity. Because we are visual. And if we are honest with ourselves, you look at somebody based on how they're dressed, you have an immediate perception, you have an immediate impression of them based on that.
Dress codes have changed a lot since I was since back in the day, and especially at going to church. These days, people just kind of wear whatever to church. What do you suggest that young people wear these days?
And particularly at church, or just in general?
Yeah,
I would say at church. I think it depends. I think it depends on the room you're going into. Every church has a different vibe. There's different denominations. They all have different rules. But I definitely believe if you're going into a spiritual or holy space that you should be dressed appropriately, should be appropriately covered. I always love like a classic, like great blazer with a top, a nice skirt. You can never go wrong with a go-to sheath dress or something that is just nice and clean. Or a nice print. But I definitely don't believe in going to church like showing too much skin. Like there should be a level of respect that you give to the space.
I think so. Good answer.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about your journey a little bit here. You've been on this journey for a few years now, and you just got your own office. What was that journey like?
So I think even before I became a stylist, I've always wanted a space I could call my own. I'm originally, like, for instance, how I first started, like with makeup, I was doing makeup out of my apartment. Then I got a space where I was able to do makeup and create a space within my condo and create that experience. But when it came to styling, it's like, I need more space. I need somewhere to put my wardrobe. I need somewhere to really receive clients and feel comfortable. Because, essentially when somebody's coming into your space, it's a stranger. So you want to feel comfortable bringing them somewhere that's presentable. And I knew for me to up level my brand and my presence, it was important that I had somewhere that spoke to that. And in that process, I initially started looking probably early 2022. And I didn't see anything that really like spoke to me. And at the time, I didn't feel like I was ready to take that step fully. And then one day I just decided to go on Craigslist and started looking for other options. And something popped up and I went to that space. I fell in love. It was an instant thing. She gave me the keys that day and I was like smooth sailing. But then there were some bumps in the road with that space because, me as a creative, you want your space to speak to you and your creativity. So I get into the space, I've signed the lease and she's like, well, the landlord doesn't want you doing any painting or anything. I'm like, wait a minute, like this is not my dream office. If I have to settle for the paint that's on the walls, which was dreadful. It was like this ugly yellow color, like a pale yellow, just not my thing. So I had been looking at wallpaper. I hired an interior designer to transform it. And then you tell me this. So, I came to an impasse. And then at the time, a beauty sister of mine was opening her own space for creatives to be able to rent out different offices. And I went and saw that. And I'm like, well, this is really what I'm looking for. So it was like, my landlord was willing to let me out my lease, miracle wise. And I moved into the other space. And in August 2022, we opened. So we have been open for almost 6 months now.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
What does a day look like? A typical day for you look like?
Well, I think every day is different, but I think if I could give you like the gist of my day, most days I'm up. I have a daughter. I'm a mom. She's 6. So I got to get her ready for school and then check social media. I might do some posting and showing up in the different spaces that I'm in on socials. Always like looking, communicating with clients, checking emails. If it's a particular day where I'm serving a client and I'm prepping and packing and getting ready to go serve them, or I may be on my software planning out their looks and their wardrobe or meeting with them. And pretty much after that, I try to wind down and do like maybe some reality TV or spending time with my daughter when she gets out of school. But that's my typical day. Then I also have my job and I work that as well. So it really depends on the day. But for the most part, I have to balance mom life, entrepreneur life, 9-to-5 life, all of it in one.
Yeah, well, you're doing pretty well with that, I think.
I'm trying. It appears that way, but some days, I'll be honest with you, Cindy, it can be super draining. Nothing but the Most High keeps me going every day. Like it's a lot, but I'm thankful to be in this position to be able to do all of these things.
Amen. Can you tell me what type of transformations have your clients experienced?
When I think about the most memorable transformation, it had to be like one of my very first clients. This young lady I worked with, we did a photo shoot and I remember, reaching out to her, seeing how she was doing. And her response was just, wow, prior to working with me, she had been dealing with a long bout of depression. And I maybe worked with this young lady about 3 or 4 hours that day. And she was like, being in this experience with you took me out of depression. And that was when I realized that what I'm doing, it's a form of healing as well, like it was for me when I lost my mom. And that was kind of what got me over the hump in my grief process, was being able to dress up and show up differently. So I began to connect like the mental health benefits of dressing, what it does for you and being taken care of. Because in the plus size community, a lot of us have not been given that care. If we look at the plus size red carpet, it's very evident that there's more work that needs to be done when it comes to services and showing up for just us in general. And I wanted to bring luxury into our conversation because it's something that's not talked about. So that was one notable transformation. Also, allowing my clients to experience self-love. I never thought of me working with them, giving them a pathway to experiencing a higher level of self-love. They experience clarity. They're able to go into spaces that they once felt they didn't belong in, and now they feel like I belong. And that's major.
Special. That is major. Wow. Building self-esteem and everything. That's a beautiful thing.
Most definitely. I don't take it lightly. Sometimes I have to take a step back and like, wow, like, this is, even though I know it's more than clothes, when you hear the other side, the other person on the other side telling you how you impacted them, it really is. It's humbling. It's super humbling.
You're really, really making a difference, a big difference, I'll say. Do you design your own clothing line?
So I've been asked this question so many times. I feel like it's like a nod to let me know that I need to.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but I do have my own boutique line, Atarah Styles. I also carry the Crown collection, which are fedoras, because a lot of plus size women struggle with finding hats that fit their heads. So I solved that problem because my hats are extended sizes. And right now I am in the route of, selling different pieces, and we'll probably relaunch again in the spring. But something that is coming very soon, I am going to be doing mystery boxes for plus size women, because a lot of my clients, they may have tried the style subscription boxes and they feel like these big companies just don't get it. So I want to create a more personalized experience by showing my clients and plus size women how I'm able to get the psychology of what their desires are when it comes to getting dressed and manifest it in a box of clothing every month.
What are you doing in the plus size community these days?
So one of the biggest things that I always wanted to see, especially when I think about the plus size social scene, normally you see a lot of these events cropping up in Atlanta and New York. There really wasn't anything here for the Baltimore, DC area that was just for us. So in 2021, I started the Styles Brunch, which is a luxury plus size fashion brunch for plus size women and men. It's a co-ed event, and it was a whopping success. I pilot tested it with 40 amazing women in my circle for the very first one, and they just could not stop talking about how amazing it was to be in a room and not be the only plus size woman, because that's also an experience that a lot of us have, is that we go into these luxury spaces and you might be the only plus size woman, and it can feel uncomfortable and somewhat intimidating. But wow, everybody here has the same problems or has experienced the same type of lived experiences. It's very comforting, and it's another way that I'm building my community outside of the work that I do.
Oh, I love that. That's a beautiful thing. You keep going. Keep it going. What are your goals for the future for Atarah Styles?
Eventually, we're going to be expanding. I don't want this to just be a Baltimore thing. I want to be able to take this to other markets. I also want to be able to grow my team, because I'm realizing that I can't do it alone, and I am going to need that support. Also for the Atarah Styles brand, bringing back the Styles Brunch. We took a break in 2022. So 2023, really this year, getting it done. Hopefully in the fall of 2023, you will see the next Styles Brunch. And just kind of figuring out what ways I can serve the market outside of my clients, because most of my clients, my services are a larger investment, but I still want to be able to reach women and other who may not be able to invest in my services, but still can feel served and supported by me in other ways.
That is beautiful. And so tell me about if anyone wants to follow in your footsteps, what would you say to them?
I would say just start. Literally, like, it's nobody else's job to make you it can be nobody else's job to believe in you. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to make other people a believer. So if you wake up tomorrow and you say, I am a wardrobe stylist, like, live in that. What does that look like? Start looking for what clues success has left you. So if you see other people in your field or wherever you are that you desire to do, that are killing it and doing amazing things, what are they doing to get to that point? And just start. Like, everybody thinks that there has to be a permission. Have to have some form of permission to do something. Don't ask for permission. If you feel in your heart that you want to work in the style industry, go for it. Like, just start. Literally, there was nobody sitting next to me when I decided to pivot and say, here's the playbook, here's the manual, here's how you get started. And eventually I got that support, but it really took time for me to figure some things out. But I had to start. And the first announcement was, hey, I am now offering styling services. I am a stylist now. You know, you reinvent yourself as many times as you want. This is your story, and you can have as many chapters as you want.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like when you say, look for those clues that's pointing you in that direction. Yes. So tell me about your social media and where people can find you and all that good stuff.
So I am new to the TikTok world, but I'm over there. I'm on Instagram mostly. I hang out on LinkedIn as well as Facebook. So for Instagram, it's Atarah Styles, straight like you see it here. I'm also on TikTok is the same way. On Facebook, the Atarah Styles Agency, and as well as on LinkedIn, Atarah Styles. So I look forward to connecting with wherever you are. Follow me on all those platforms. And then, of course, if you want to reach me and you're looking for styling services and you are a plus size CEO, speaker, or public figure, my website is atarahstyles.com.
Great. Well, it's been an honor having you. And you are such an inspiration. I just encourage you to keep going and keep moving and see where this is going for you.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for having me. It's been an honor, and congratulations on 30 plus years doing this. Like, that's amazing. And I'm like, I can't wait to get to that point.
Oh, thank you so much for that. You have been very much a delight. So thank you for coming on. And I want to thank you for watching The Cindy Davis Show. Until next time, God bless.